And then I said, look, and I did right in front of his grandfather or the girl's grandfather. I said, this is his money. This is for him for being a good, smart young man. And I handed him the money. Man, looked like I gave the boy $1 million, man. But I'm praying that seed will grow in him to let him know that everybody's not like that. And it's okay to be you.
Hello and welcome to the What's So Funny About podcast, brought to you by the Liberation Comedy Project, liberationcomedy.org. I'm your host, Pedro Silva, and on What's So Funny About, we normally say that we talk to funny people about serious topics, but today we have a special episode. Today our guest is Black Santa Claus, aka DC White, and it's a very enlightening episode. I met DC recently where my daughter had a chance to meet him, and I didn't grow up knowing about Santa Claus or really believing in Santa Claus, but I will say that seeing my daughter with this Santa Claus did make me want to be a believer, and we talk a little bit more about that in the podcast. This is a magical episode, a thought-provoking episode, and I hope that you get something out of it and feel free to share it with other people. So DC, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, it's good to be a part of you guys. It's my pleasure to be a part of this podcast.
Yeah, awesome. So let me tell you, man, I grew up in Virginia. Did you grow up in Virginia, or did you just live there?
I grew up in DC, and then I moved to Virginia in my 20s, my late 20s. Yeah.
So I grew up in Virginia, and the first time I saw a Black Santa, I was probably about 6 or 7 years old, right? And I had never believed in Santa anyway. So because my mom and dad, so happened they broke up on Christmas, so that wasn't the day to start talking about kind of Santa Claus. So, but I saw this Black Santa in this mall called Mid City, and I was like, what in the world? And it was a black area, right? So we had a Black Santa, but he was super skinny and he barely had a beard. And I was like, what is up with this? So that was like my first intro into Black Santa. So I never like really got down with it. But then I started thinking about it recently more, and I've seen more of it as, diversity and stuff like that. And I ain't gonna lie, man, when I saw you, I started wanting to be a believer. So how did you get into being Santa?
Well, I have a 18-month-old granddaughter, and last year she was born in July. The year before, and she was born in July, and my daughter-in-law asked me, would you mind being Santa Claus? And it kicked off from there, man. And everybody saw the pictures on Facebook and everything. I went and got me a suit and made it look good, and that little girl laughed and smiled, and it made everybody else jealous. So I said, well, let me do this, and I started doing it for churches and community centers and back east as well as here. So when I fly back to Virginia, I might do 3 or 4 showings between now and Christmas, and then I might do another 5 or 6 showings out here before Christmas for church organizations and different things of nature. So it's been fun. And yes, my beard is real.
yeah. I was just thinking about it. I was just checking out your beard and going, yeah, and your beard is real. You were reading my mind, man. So like, have you when you go to these communities, like, what do you feel from the kids, especially when they're kids that like see a Santa that maybe reminds them of them? Like, what do you think impact?
Oh man, it's special because to see the look on their face to say, oh man, Santa really looks like me. And then being able to express to them, the responsibility. I'm not only just saying, oh, what's your gift, but I look at them as a character, as saying, hey, I'm real. And then I support your mom and dad. And they're my elves. So I know what you're doing, and play that expectation. I had one little girl the other day say to me, well, what about Jesus? I said, well, when in the beginning, Santa started off as a minister in the church to promote giving, and then it went from there. So everybody's taking it from different secular perspective. I'm being a bona fide saved man. That means putting God first, him first in my life, and then roll from that aspect. So to see their faces, but my friend, what's funnier, the parents want to take more pictures with me than the kids because they've never experienced a Black Santa, especially being out here in Colorado. I love it being out here, but it ain't but a few of us out here.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. I know, man. It's a trip because like I grew up like I'm more like stoic type of person. And when I was younger, I really wasn't that emotional. And then, like I said, my parents broke up on Christmas. And then when my mom tried to like make up for that by spending more money than she should have, and then we
Yeah.
lost our electricity. So like my association with Christmas was like, this is the chance that you might not have lights in February. You know what I mean?
Well, that's real though, because a lot of parents try to overcompensate.
Right.
And what I try to tell the child, well, I want this, I want that. I said, well, if you can just get two things, let's
Hmm.
work with the two things. But then
Right.
again, you still got to be obedient and respectful to your parents, your grades, and their
Hmm.
responsibility at home. Did you clean your room? Oh, I mess
Hmm.
them up with that one, man.
Yeah.
And the response that I get from the parents is like, wow. Normally I go to see Santa. He don't say nothing. He don't even talk to him. He sit there, may say ho 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 a couple of times, and that's it. I like to engage and being a part of their one part of the year. Oh man, to see
Hmm.
their reactions
Yeah.
is fantastic. Especially when I say that their parents are my elves away from the
Uh-huh.
North Pole, and that messes them up.
Yeah, no, that's awesome though. I mean, I love the way that you're like engaging the imagination. Like now that I'm older, and I told myself like when I had kids, they ain't gonna believe in Santa Claus either. Like day one, I was like, it's not happening. But but my wife comes from a family where they're really about that, and so I was like, oh,
Okay.
I had to kind of like bridge it. I mean, and say, okay, I can't, even though it's not my thing, I accept it as their thing. But I always still felt like when, like I said, my mom and dad broke up on Santa Claus on Christmas, and I had just learned about Santa Claus, and
Wow.
well, is Santa Claus still coming? Like when my dad left, and then my mom was like hot, so she was like, what? She's like, your daddy left me, and you want me to give my credit to a fat white man? And
Oh
then
my goodness. Oh
then
my
she was
goodness.
like, and then I don't think she meant it because then she told me like a couple years later, she told me, "Don't tell my brother there was no such thing as Santa Claus." So I never had it, but I had to like kind of keep my mouth shut. So I never felt that like magical feeling or anything like that. And like I said, but when I saw you, man, I ain't gonna lie, I was like, "Dang, that's what it feels like." That's why I feel like the
I mean,
Grinch in my heart
because
got big.
what happened? A lot of kids and like even adults have those unfortunate situations like you had that
Hmm.
traumatized them. I mean, good lord,
Hmm.
that's a traumatizing experience.
Yeah.
But I taught my kids a long time ago that I work for Santa,
Mm.
and I dictate that. There's a real Santa Claus, but I'm the one to bring your toys in there. We're not going to dog him, and then we make that work. So when they understand the two, they understand, hey, it's been tight this year. Normally you get 4 toys. We down to 2 this year, and
Hmm.
even on that one, I may have to wait a little bit after Christmas because it's so expensive, and
Hmm.
and let them know because that's the reality of life. You don't
Right.
may have to do that to kids that's 5 and 6, but when you get 9, 10, 11,
Hmm.
you're gonna have to break
Yeah.
that down quite a bit because you're gonna have to argue with people from school. Ain't no Santa, that's your daddy. Or explain the song. Well, I saw mommy kissing Santa Claus. So that
Or
makes a big difference.
if it was my dad, then that song would be true. but 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 yeah, but I think that it's like something about like representation does like matter and feels like something important to people, but also the sense of imagination. Like people want to
Yes.
have imagination, they want to have wonder, they want to feel like there's magical moments even when they living in their everyday regular life that's full of challenges. They want to feel that feeling, and you seem to like marry all of those things together and embody that when you're playing Santa Claus, which is pretty awesome.
But I
So
think it's fun because I mean I went and I consider my if you want to know anything, go to YouTube or Google. I don't care how old you are, you can figure it out through
yeah.
YouTube or Google. And I looked at how Santa Claus act, and then the earlier part when they first came to the malls, I would sit there and watch them. I said, I
Mhm.
can't do this. I got to be me. And even my suit, I got it, and I changed around. I
Mhm.
got my own comfortable boots and
Nice.
made a little snowy thing around the top of it, and my glasses, and
Hmm.
then I just let my beard grow all year long to keep it
Hmm.
full and take
Hmm.
care of that. Because half the time, most African American kids they pull this. Oh,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
okay?
yeah,
See if you're real or not because they
yeah,
smart. I had a
yeah.
little three. I think about 4 or 5 year old. Most of the girls, because the girls are
Hmm.
sharp. The girls look
Yeah.
at me. She says, "Well," I said, "Pull the beard," and she pulled it. Wow, so you are real.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. Yeah. So let me ask you, what's the like when the Little Mermaid came out and they were gonna have a black Little Mermaid, people started losing their minds. Have you had any people lose their minds about you being Black Santa?
So far not.
That's
I've read
awesome.
up on horror stories. Guys up in Maine or Wisconsin, stuff like that. That's Black Santas and went to the Black Santa school, had problems, and there's a guy that be on a lot of the Today shows. He got death threats. I'm like, this is crazy. You
Mm,
know, we are humans.
mm-hmm,
If you cut me, I'm a bleed red. But
mm-hmm,
if you need my blood, it'll match yours. So
mm-hmm,
you can turn me down because I'm black. Wow.
mm-hmm.
So it just depends, and you see a lot of it. One thing I've learned in Denver, they won't tell you, but there's a lot of undercover.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
It's
get
not
I
like
de-
Virginia. Yeah, it's
Yo,
not like
yeah,
Virginia.
I
Virginia, like
know.
they'll let you know. It's
Yeah,
written, it's and stamped on their forehead or on
yeah,
their neck. I am a redneck. Out here is real undercover. They get you on the sly, so you got to be
yeah,
conscious of that.
yeah. No, absolutely. That's crazy. And you mentioned a Black Santa school. Is it a Black Santa school or is it just Santa school
No,
and
it's
Black
just a
Santa?
Santa school. For
Okay.
but only time I've seen on the videos is only one or two black guys
Mm,
that's in there, and
mm,
these are big guys, and I'd be impressed with beards. I'm like, wow,
mm.
they real, they got it going on, they got it going
Yeah.
on. So yeah,
And that's
we'll do it.
that's rough. You're trying to be like a jolly old Saint Nick type dude, and then and people trying to be tripping off of a Black Santa, getting mad and doing death threats is kind of crazy.
Well, we call it player haters. We don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Or Slayer
in
haters
my
because of Santa's slay,
yeah
they the Slayer
yeah.
haters. Don't be a Slayer hater. No, that's
Put your
awesome.
nose on, become a Rudolph for me, and let's do this.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and there's different things that we get. I put my uh uh information on the internet and things, and I had one guy got my number and he texted me. I'm trying to get some presents for my mom. So his mom, he's an older guy, he's
Mm-hmm,
handicapped. So I'm
mm-hmm,
putting together a project now on my own. Nobody else helping me, but he said my mom would like this, my dad would like that, stuff like that. You see, you try to help out as much as you can to
mm-hmm.
offset things, and see what you can do to be a part. Because this is a heart grabber. I mean, it plays with
Yeah,
your emotions.
yeah.
Seeing people do things, and like I said, you can have fun, but there's
Mm-hmm,
some things. Like the other day, there was a little girl um, that came in. She said, "Santa, all I want is for people not to be sick." Then you got to go with the faith expectation and go with that and say, well, we're gonna believe together that Jesus can do that and heal the sick. And she said that made my day. And this little girl's 5 years old, messed
mm-hmm,
me up. But you have to be able to handle because everybody goes through different things from a
mm-hmm.
5 year old to a 60 year old. It just depends.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've had a 75 year old sit on my lap too and have what you want for Christmas. So it
Oh,
just
that's funny.
depends.
Yeah.
There's no limitation. I sometimes I may wear my suit. I'm a Nuggets fan. I'm a
Mm-hmm,
Jokic fan, and I
mm-hmm,
might wear my suit Christmas Day. And
mm.
last year I wore it, and man, I got so many people wanting to sit on my lap, older ladies, and I said, "Hold on, where your husband at?" And they said, "Well, he's gonna take the picture." I said, "As long as he don't get beat up, I'm cool." Santa gets mugged at the Nuggets game for taking a picture with a man's wife.
Yeah. No, we don't want that in the headlines. So it sounds like you had like a lot of good receptivity,
Yes,
in this
yes,
role. What
yes.
is the most challenging reception you ever had being Black Santa?
Oh, I didn't know Santa was black.
Oh, I mean that's what somebody said, or you saying that?
No, a kid said it.
Oh,
A kid said it. A kid said
oh,
it to me. He said, I didn't know Santa was black. I said, Santa can be what you want him to be.
mm,
And since you are black, there is a black Santa. And
mm,
how many Santas you think there are in the world? And I had to break it down to explain it because he was serious.
mm-hmm,
Ain't no Santas. You're not real. Man, when he turned that corner, saw me, he like to passed out. And he was 9. He was 9.
yeah, that's
So
cool. Like,
there's a lot of skepticisms and
right,
isms in this
right,
thing because we've always been saying that when we grew up, you ain't never seen no black Santa, you know.
mm-hmm,
And if you did, there's very few, only in the predominantly black neighborhoods.
yeah,
Where I lived at, it was a combination. In D.C., it might have been a couple of them, but my dad said I'm Santa, so
Yeah,
it didn't
yeah.
work for us too well.
Right, right, yeah, yeah, like me. But and the skinny Santa is like when I saw that dude when I was looking, man, I don't remember what his name was. But he was like, "Come on over and get on my lap." I was like, "No, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
I'm good."
So I went out and make sure that I have a a jolly stomach where they, oh man, he is big, wow, but I make the suit look big,
Yeah, okay.
because I don't want to. It's already a shock with me being black, the
Uh-huh.
beard, but a gray beard at that. And
Hmm.
in my daily job, I wear an orange shirt and an orange hat,
Mm.
and people are
Yeah.
like, "Man, is unique." But when I do that, it's a whole different mindset, and
Hmm.
it's fun, man. It's really fun seeing the reactions of the parents, grandparents, adopted kids, not adopted kids. I've had a lot of adopted kids are being in this area that I've met that are being raised by a white family,
Mm.
and they bring them over, and that's a unique situation. So I'm playing a
Mm.
lot of different hats with the
Man, that's
Santa
awesome.
Claus role that has
That's
been
awesome.
unique in itself. And she said, "Well, I really don't believe in Santa Claus, but I would love to take a picture with you."
Oh, that's good. That's a good response.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
like you saying that about like a lot of kids being adopted, like white parents with black kids.
Yes,
There's a lot of that here, obviously. That you probably see. I've seen more of that here than
yes,
anywhere
more.
else.
Yes, yes,
And,
yes.
and a
I
lot
have.
of the kids don't know how to be around other black people, or they don't
No.
know how to be around, see, like, different black leadership or something like that. So it's probably even more like profound that see an iconic person in the social landscape of America, to see a black version and when they're not used to being around that many black people and don't know how to be around black people, it probably does even a bigger impact on their experience, I would imagine, that they'd be like,
So,
whoa.
yeah, in the summertime, I have a farm called Soul Grown Farms, and I sell plants and starter garden starter, and mostly I'm not trying to get a famous plug, but at different farmers markets over the city, and I see that, and I
Hmm.
see a white family, maybe the grandparents come in, they have to take the black kid with them, and I looked at one kid one Saturday, and man, they were buying stuff for their grandchildren, but left him out.
Mm.
I wasn't having that. I made
Mm.
sure he got something, and then I pulled him to the side and said, "You mind if I talk to him?" I said, "When you go out the house, see how my hair is? It's short like yours, but it's comb it to make it a little neater. It's just little small
Mm.
tidbits." And man, that
Mm.
dude just brightened up, and I gave him what he wanted because they wasn't. They looked like they weren't gonna buy it. The grandmother
Mm.
didn't want to buy it, but the grandfather was like, "Yeah, I can't, but thank you. I appreciate what you just did." So little stuff like that, when you see things,
Mm.
makes a big difference. Makes a big
Wow,
difference
man.
in kids' life.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
I'm feeling emotional for that kid. Not even know him, but
Oh, dude, I was done.
yeah,
Emotional. I can see it. Like he wanted it, but he wasn't able to be allowed to ask because he's not their grandchild. You can see that they
yeah, yeah.
put emphasis on that. And granted, he might be taken care of. He got a good meal. He's smart, but he was kind of like beneath them. And
Mm.
I worked at, and I made it my business to work that to make
Yeah,
sure he was good. And then I
yeah.
gave him a 20 spot. He said, "Nobody's
Oh,
ever done that before me." I said,
oh
"Pick out."
man.
I sell soap and flowers, so they got theirs, and they wanted soap. So I gave him one of the soaps, and then I
Hmm.
said, "Look," and I did it right in front of his grandfather or the
Hmm.
girl's grandfather. I said, "This is his money. This is for him for being a good, smart young man." And I
Hmm.
handed him money. Man, it looked like I gave a boy $1 million, man.
Mm.
But I'm praying that that seed will grow in him to let him know that everybody's not like that, and it's
Right.
okay to be you.
Hmm. Yeah, man. That's awesome, man. That's like you got like a mission. That's amazing. I
Oh, it's
um
fun, man. It's fun.
I I was telling you earlier, like you remind me of this guy named Chico that when I was growing up, he dated my mom for about 5 years, and that meant a lot to me. It was in like the formidable years. Like my parents were,
Uh,
broken up, and I didn't have like a constant, like kind of consistent father figure. So he came
uh,
in for those 5 years, but then after he and my mom broke up, he still stayed in my life, and I still talk to him every week up until today.
wow,
And
wow,
and
wow.
he had like this spirit, like he had like this little like twinkle in his eyes, a little magic in his eyes. And he, as soon as he met me, he was like, "Well, I'm dating your mama, so that means you're gonna be my son." And he just said it like that. And then he still to this day treats me like I'm his son. And like him and my mom have been together for 36 years, and he
Wow.
still treats me like a son. And like you had that energy, that kind of like vibe. and he always used to teach me like little lessons and stuff like that. And so it's really awesome to see like another person with that kind of presence that's like making impacts on people's lives that ripple out. You never know where it's going. Like somebody might look back and be like, "Oh, I remember I met Black Santa Claus, changed my life." You know what I mean? Different things.
And that's the
Yeah.
goal, because you want to live in terms of using Christianity as my base. You want to live a life so people can see that there's a reality in serving Jesus for a purpose.
Yeah.
So I don't have to write I'm a Christian or I'm saved on my forehead. It's based on
hmm
your lifestyle and how you
hmm
live. And I'm a believer in treating people like you want to be treated.
hmm
You show them respect no matter what or how you interpret them. It's just up to you. And once you
hmm
figure that out and understand that, you're so good. Because I got to so good constantly, because some tear might come up, so I got to overwhelm that tear.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
awesome.
to so good. I got to so
Yeah.
good. Yes,
And,
sir.
what's awesome about what you're saying is like the way I experience what you're saying is that you're living into your values and you're just putting those
Yes.
values out into the world and
Yes.
then trusting that like those values are going to bear the fruit that they're supposed to bear when you're out in
Yeah.
the world. And if everybody did that, regardless of what their traditions are, what their backgrounds are, if they could live from their highest values, it would be good for everybody. And one of the things we kind of like the organization I work for, we
Uh-huh.
are about bringing people together across differences and bridging divides and all these other things. And but a lot of it is trying to help people uncover their values and then try to live into those, and then also recognize those values mirrored in other people who may have different backgrounds than them. And,
Mm-hmm.
and showing that we don't have to like fight each other, be divided, and all this other stuff the way we've been in our society right now. So I think I like I've seen your work. It feels like anybody can make that choice anywhere in their life, and you're doing it when you're Santa, but you're doing it when you're selling your stuff, you're doing it with your construction business, and you're a very enterprising person too, I see, which is pretty awesome.
Well, I've learned years ago to be a, you know, you have people tell you, well, I want to own my own company. There's a lot of work to it. But once I got used to not punching the clock and creating my own schedule, I still work 16 hours a day, but
Mm,
it's mine. It's a big difference.
yeah.
So I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the conversations. I've been doing demolition and construction for the last 25 years.
Mhm.
That's my main income, and then everything else is just something I like to do. Be around people. It's fun. It's fun.
That,
You know,
that's awesome.
seeing a lady take a flower home or a young lady take a succulent to the house and come back 3 months later. It's doing good. Mr. D
Mm-hmm.
is good. It's doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Just to see the smile on people's face, I get off on that. That's my energy flow.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I had people tell me, "Well, I don't have enough money to pay for that." I said, "Well, you sound like a trustworthy person. Bring it to me next week." They're not used to that in modern day
Mm-hmm.
time. What, you
Mm-hmm.
trust me? What do you? No, all you got to do. All I have is your word that you'll bring it back. Only thing that
Mm-hmm.
can mess that up is you. I just play with people's emotions in
Mm-hmm.
a positive way to
Mm-hmm.
to show them that there's better. And then coming from a black man
Mm-hmm.
in
Mm-hmm.
downtown Denver, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
wait, who are you? Are you real? I told one lady, I said, y'all look at too much TV. I
That's
bleed red
funny.
like the next man. And because
Yeah.
she wasn't expecting that. And
Yeah.
and based on that, I got loyal customers that we deal with. But man, doing this time of year, seeing these kids' faces, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God, that just the smile. And then I get a kick out of skepticism from a
Mm-hmm.
9-year-old or a
Mm-hmm.
13-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's fun.
No, that's
I
awesome.
had one. I was at one place. I had a kid. He didn't want to take a picture with me, but his mother wanted him to. And everybody had left out of the room. He was walking through there. I said, "Come here for a second. Do me a big favor. Your mom is a nice lady, and I think she takes very good care of you. Won't you make her happy by taking a picture with me?"
Mm-hmm.
And he looked and looked at me. He said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do that." When he took that picture, to see the look on his mother's face,
Mm-hmm.
I said, "See what you just did for her?" He said, "Yeah, that's nice because I haven't seen a smile like that in a long time."
Yeah. That's
Just,
awesome, man.
just basic conversation on how
Yeah.
you present it, how
Mm-hmm.
you go about doing it, and just a sense of family, community, and love. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I love
That's
it.
awesome.
I love it. I
So
love
let
it.
me ask you, if DC White Black Santa had to get his wish, what would your wish be?
Wow, I haven't even thought about that. I always strive to be debt free, and to be well off. That's my goal, is to develop my businesses and get down there. But yeah, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable. I'm
Yeah,
good. I'm good.
that's cool.
By seeing these kids' faces and the type of work that I do, and be able to take something from nothing and make something out of it, is priceless for me. For me.
Yeah, I mean, I really think like creativity is like that is the has like a kind of social glue. Like it's like how we build, how we expand beyond the limitations of our relationships and all the other things that they kind of bind us, is by being creative. And
Yeah.
you're just being, constantly creative, and also kicking in the imagination and then the art. And it's like clearly, like, you make soap, you do the thing with the plants. You have like this you have your hands in the stuff that worlds are made of, for lack of a better expression, because you just embodying all of that. And I think that those principles that you embody are invitations for other folks, like to see that they can create, they can do different things, they can do things that they're not used to seeing. Like if somebody says, "Oh, I don't know any black doctors, I don't know any black this or that," seeing a Black Santa, that's up there too. You know what I mean? That's like, well, we
Yeah.
don't see much of it. It's like, oh, I can be a lot of other things that
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about being. So that's awesome. And
What you're doing is taking away the stigmas
yeah,
of, well, I normally see y'all in the stereotype. I normally see y'all do this. I normally see you do that. Again, even when you see all these guys on these TikTok videos, and I'm a thug life. They don't know nothing about no thug life. They don't know about, man. That's so. You're a straight punk when it comes down to it. You look good in front of a camera, but reality is reality. And I grew up
right.
in Southeast DC, coming through a place to go to school called Simple City in Eastgate. Yeah, man, if you ain't know how to fight or run, you're in trouble. So I was a good runner.
Like, don't
So
mess with
to
Black
see,
Santa. Future Black
yeah, I
Santa,
mean,
man. Don't mess with me.
this a perspective that you do it. So see, you got Santa Mile High at Gmail, and then Black Santa Mile High at uh, on um, on
Instagram.
on Instagram. And people can book me. I go out. I go out. I got to go up to this week. I'll be up in I think a couple of them up in Colorado Springs. But the only thing
Mm,
about that, I gotta get paid a little extra for the gas, because normally it's an
yeah,
hour. Because the way I
yeah.
stay at, I stay down here in Lafayette, and where there's only maybe a quarter percent, no, maybe 0.1% black out here.
You know what's funny? I live in Lafayette too.
That's funny. That's
I did not
funny.
know you
That's
lived in
funny.
Lafayette. It seemed like
I, I,
would have seen each other.
Yeah, but it's a small, big world, and
Hmm.
Miss Sharon has tried to down here has tried to gather the community of the smallness to make it large, because all of
Hmm.
us have a connection. And you doing your world. If I probably would never seen you,
Hmm.
because I've been living out here 6 years,
Mm, yeah, me too.
so
Almost.
we've never seen each other,
Right.
and you live in Lafayette. That's funny.
Yep.
So it just
Yeah.
depends. It just
Yeah.
depends on where you're coming from
Yeah.
and how you
No,
look at
wow.
things.
Well,
Uh,
that's awesome, an awesome connection. So let me think. Uh, One of the questions that we have in this podcast is called "What's so funny about?" So usually I ask a comedian what's so funny about something, and then usually the thing isn't actually funny. It's like they had to try to make it funny. Like somebody may say,
okay.
like, "What's so funny about like being broke?" or something like that. So and then they just say, "Oh, this is what's funny about." So I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna try to come up with one for you. Um, what's so funny about? Let's see. What's so funny about? I can't even think of anything because it's Santa Claus. I'm like trying to think of like, let me see. What's so funny about being one of the few black people in this area?
In Lafayette, people around here make it their best to just. It's weird. Um, that's why I say people watching me on TV. I'm a little under 6 foot, big black guy, and they don't know how to. They're like, "Yes, sir." Like, you've never said yes, sir, to a black man before. Why are you doing that? I mean, I got an orange shirt on. I'm not gonna hurt you. I even fit the Broncos colors. Come on, what are you doing? So it's just being around here, it just sticks out, and people try so hard to make you feel a part. but they're scared to death.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean by that. I've had people tell me, like, you saw me, I'm short, right? And I've had people tell me, like, I don't know why in my mind you're 6 foot tall. I'm like something down, but it's like social programming that they just think like every black guy's like a big dude. They got that they'll just like they
Yeah,
see
and
in
and
their
and they
imagination
real
I'm
and they
6 feet
real in their
tall.
imagination. Yes, and
Yeah,
they are still more scared of me in their own mind than I am of my own self. And I
yeah,
think that is so ridiculously funny. At times it's like it's scary. It's like, do you know what you where'd that come from? So a lot of it is just their own insecurities or don't know how to handle you. They don't.
yeah. So it's probably just like a mind blower when they experience you in the Santa role too, because that's something else that's like transforming a person's brain from something they're used to seeing. I know one time I had a police officer pull me over. Or he didn't pull me over. I was walking, and he pulled up to me and was like, "Let me talk to you for a second." And I said, "Not in Lafayette, but it was in California." And I said, "I was like, yes, sir." And he's like, "Let me talk to you." And I said, "What's going on?" And he said, "Yeah, you matched the description of somebody that we're looking for." And then I said, "Well, what does the person look like?" And he said, "A 6 foot tall black man." And I said, "6 foot tall black man?"
6 feet tall, black
And
dude.
then
You're
he's
only
like,
five. You're 5'5". You're 5'7".
yeah, I'm not even
That's
five
the
seven,
best.
man. And I said, and I repeated it again. And he said, yeah. And then he looked at me and then he kind of was like, oh, yeah, I just really messed up. And I just said, 6 foot tall black man. And he was like, yeah, maybe it's, hold on. And then he just let me go. But he was like, I was like, man, this dude in his imagination, I'm 6 feet tall.
Yes, yes,
I'm
in
like,
his mind.
I'm not even cracking 5'5".
And make it so bad. They are so serious about it. And for me, I I I laugh without crying because that's how
Yeah.
bad it is. Because you've put a terror in your own mind that I never said nothing to you, but in your
Mm-hmm.
mind, oh my God! I mean,
Mm-hmm.
whew, whew. And that's one thing that we teach is once you get something. I learned years ago. It takes 5 minutes to develop a habit and a lifetime to get rid of it.
Mm. No, that's a good
So
one.
if you teach it a little bit of it, you become what you in your mind. Stereotypical is in your mind, it's in your thoughts, but you don't even know me.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been blessed to be in places to be the human icebreaker. Put in
Mm-hmm.
places not only from Santa Claus to working with different companies all over the country because I travel still back and forth to
Mm-hmm.
Virginia, and I am assistant pastor at a small church in Hopewell, Virginia, outside of Richmond, Virginia. So
Oh wow.
I fly back and forth and do that and handle that, and then out here and fellowship out here and just be. I'm enjoying life, man. I've been doing this for
Yeah.
12 years. So
Yeah.
for me to be sitting here, nobody knows you, but then they do because everybody's
Mm-hmm.
watching you.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, nobody knows you, but everybody watches you.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a testament to your be comfortable with yourself that you can embody this presence and carry this presence with you everywhere you go so that people have to meet you. Like they may come with a preconceived notion, but the way you show up and the way you present yourself and the way you give to people, it opens them up and invites them to get to see the real you. And I think once they do that, they actually see more of themselves because they
Yeah,
don't have to have
yeah.
that fear in front of them or whatever the misconception or bias or whatever the case may be. Like you're holding your own presence in a way that they have to shift.
I mean, because a lot of times I try, like you say, the human icebreaker to just woosah, breathe. It's okay.
Hmm.
It's okay. It's okay.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I had one person say, "Is it that bad?" I said, "Not for me, but I think it's for you."
Yeah.
And when they realize how goofy they look at the end of the day, and see, like,
Right.
man, you're a real person. Yeah. Again, I go back to my statement. I bleed red. I'm a human. I cry at times.
Yeah.
I have emotions. It's okay. And once they understand that, um, man, is. But I've noticed too, people, all creeds, color, size, whatever, have an issue in life. They're perfect one on one, but when they get around other people, that's when you see the real them come out because they
Hmm.
try to impress when they don't have to. I
Hmm.
said, I've had people go with me and I'm with them or in private. Man, we great. Get around their friends. are you the same person that we just talked to about 2 days ago? I'm
Mm-hmm.
confused. Why are you
Right.
acting like that? So it just depends on where they're at and the circumstances.
Yeah.
And
A lot of
that
people
goes
want to
with black,
belong.
white. Oh yeah, oh yeah, and that goes with black, white, or indifferent.
Right.
It just doesn't, just
Yeah.
doesn't.
People want to
But
belong, and then it's like on top of wanting to belong, they have this there's this teaching.
impress
I forget.
moment.
Yeah, there's this book called Moral Man and Immoral Society. And it
Uh,
basically says that people are more moral as individuals than they are when they get into groups. They become less moral. And
I believe that. I believe
yeah.
that because most of your violence, when it comes down to group violence or group situations, are done with people egging on other people.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying, they
Yeah.
egg them on. They're like, you wouldn't have did that on a normal basis, but because somebody said you could do it, you try to walk on water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But they
Yeah.
go home and you go home. Then what you gonna do?
Exactly. Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
man, I wish I didn't. Well, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't do that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I think that one of the things that we can do to kind of help individuals kind of get a sense of who they are is like just continue to doing what you're doing, showing up as you authentically, being excited, being full of joy, and spreading that. And I think that's something that you like. Even in the moments, I was grieving a friend when I'm still grieving a friend that died recently. But when I saw you and I saw my daughter like smiling and lighting up with you, that brought some light into my own moment, my own experience. And I think the more of us that can bring light into
wow.
our experiences moment to moment, the more people feel like they can be themselves, the less performative they have to be, the
Yeah,
more curious they can be about other people. And that's what we're striving toward. That's why we're doing this podcast and different things like that, just kind of opening people up usually through comedy, but through stories like this too. So I really appreciate you doing this. And again, you said people can reach you at Mile High Black Santa on Instagram is one
yes,
of the ways of contacting you. And then the other
right.
one, what was the email address again?
It's Santa Mile High at Gmail.
Awesome. Well, it's been
Yeah.
awesome to talk to you, the DC White, aka Black Santa, and I look forward to sharing this podcast episode with people. And I'm gonna keep my eyes open for you now that I know we both live in Lafayette. I'm gonna like scanning around trying to see if I can see you. I'm gonna be like Black
Well,
Santa.
I appreciate the combine that we did in a short period of time. That
Mm-hmm.
makes it easier when you're authentic. Being
Mm-hmm.
able to, I can be myself. I'm okay in who I am first.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can hang with you at any time. So
Yeah,
yeah, good
that's
to find a
awesome.
friend. Good
Yeah,
to
yeah,
find a
I know, man.
friend. Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
blessing too.
So I'm a Nuggets fan. So we will hook up and we go to a game.
Oh, that sounds cool. I've never been to one.
You
Awesome.
serious?
Yeah, I'm
Oh
serious.
well, be ready for a new trip. We're gonna have some fun.
All right, sounds good.
All right, my
Black
brother.
Santa.
All right, peace out. Ho ho ho! Merry Christmas, and remember,
Oh,
Jesus is the reason for the season.
awesome.
All right, now we'll talk.
Thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe. The What's So Funny About podcast was brought to you by the Liberation Comedy Project, which is being incubated by Mediators Foundation, mediatorsfoundation.org, and managed by YOUnify, YOUnify.org. Stay tuned for future episodes and check out past episodes as we work to bring more light, laughter, and love to this world through the Liberation Comedy Project. Bye for now.